Gurudev and Hari Om. Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Satgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayana Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudirayet. Are you all able to hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So we'll begin with this, a synopsis of the first 3 chapters. In the first chapter of the Gita, the teacher Krishna and the disciple Arjuna were introduced, and the context that led to Arjuna asking Krishna for self-knowledge was given. Previously, Arjuna had only been interested in regaining the kingdom and settling old accounts with Duryodhana. Arjuna had no desire for this knowledge, and even though he had known Krishna for a long time, he did not regard him as a teacher. Arjuna had lived a life of dharma, and a life of dharma necessarily leads one to ask fundamental questions about life. It had given him the necessary viveka to ask Krishna, "O Bhagavan, please teach me what is the ultimate good. I am your disciple." The first chapter described the battlefield, Arjuna's despair, and his arguments concerning why he no longer wanted to fight. Early in the second chapter, Krishna tried to arouse Arjuna's enthusiasm so that he would do what had to be done. He addressed him as follows: Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupasthitam anarya jushtamasvargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. In such crisis, from where has this despair come upon you, O Arjuna? It is not at all becoming of an upright man and does not add to your good name, nor is it one which leads one to heaven. Klaibyam masmagamah partha naitatvayupapadyate kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktvottishta parantapa. O Partha, the vanquisher of enemies, do not yield to unmanliness. This does not befit you. Give up this lowly weakness of heart and get up. Arjuna continued to explain why he could not fight, saying that he would prefer to live the life of a bhikshu who lives on alms. This meant that he was thinking of a life of sannyasa, that he wanted to renounce everything and seek moksha. He knew that a particular knowledge was necessary for moksha and that a guru was necessary for gaining this knowledge. Thinking that there was no better guru than Krishna, Arjuna asked him for the knowledge, declaring himself to be Krishna's disciple. In response to Arjuna's request, Krishna did not simply say, "Stop talking and fight." Had he done so, and had Arjuna followed Krishna's advice, the Mahabharata would have no Gita. Instead, it looks as though Krishna was waiting for such an occasion as this, for just such an occasion as this, to teach Arjuna. Otherwise, he would not have started with Ashocyan Anvashochastvam Prajna Vadamscha Bhashase. You grieve for those who should not be grieved for, even though you speak words of wisdom. Nor would he have followed the statement up with Nasato vidyate bhavaha na bhavo vidyate sataha. The unreal never is, and the real is never absent. In fact, Krishna covered the entire teaching in the second chapter, talking about knowledge and about karma yoga, how one has to live one's life in a manner which helps one gain a certain freedom from the hold of likes and dislikes. Then, towards the end of the chapter, Arjuna asked Krishna to describe a person who is established in this knowledge. Arjuna uvacha sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadhiv kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. Arjuna said, O Keshava, what is the description of a person of firm wisdom, one whose mind abides in the Atma, the Self? How does such a person, whose mind is not shaken by anything, speak, sit, and walk? In asking Krishna to describe a Sthita Prajna, a wise person, Arjuna indicated that the description should cover how the person walks, talks, and sits. Krishna saw the spirit of Arjuna's question and defined the Sthita Prajna in these words. Shri Bhagavan Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnastadochyate. Sri Bhagavan said, O Partha, when a person gives up all the desires as they appear in the mind and is happy in oneself, with oneself alone, that person is said to be one of ascertained knowledge. Dukkeshvanudvignamanaha sukeshu vigatasprihaha vitaragabhaya krodhaha sthitadhif muniruchyate. The one who is not affected by adversities, one who is without yearning for pleasures and is free from longing, fear, and anger, is said to be a wise person whose knowledge remains. Yes sarvatranabhisneha tat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. For the one who is unattached in all situations, who neither rejoices on gaining the pleasant nor hates the unpleasant, his knowledge is well established. Yada samharate chayam kurmunganiva sarvashah indriyanindriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita. And when, like the turtle that withdraws its limbs, this person is able to withdraw completely the sense organs from their objects, his knowledge is steady. We see here that Krishna, appreciating the spirit of Arjuna's question, converted it into how does a wise person interact with the world? A Sthita Prajna, Krishna said, is one whose knowledge is steady, meaning one whose knowledge leaves nothing to be desired. Such a person is happy with himself or herself and does not require anything other than himself or herself in order to be happy. The person is also not afraid of anything. When unpleasant situations occur, he or she faces them without being adversely affected in any way. Nor is such a person elated when pleasant situations occur. The spontaneous expressions of the wisdom of a wise person become sadhanas, values, or disciplines for the seeker, which is why Arjuna was interested in the qualities of a wise person. Krishna described all these qualities to Arjuna. He also told Arjuna of certain obstacles to gaining this wisdom, such as how by dwelling upon certain objects, Vishaya Dhyana, we give them subjective attributes in addition to those attributes that the objects already have. For example, as long as you look upon money as simply buying power, there is no problem. However, when you look upon it as a source of security, you are creating a problem for yourself because your conclusion is not totally true. Money itself cannot make you secure. Anything that you hold on to that is other than yourself only confirms your insecurity. As long as one wants crutches, one does not stand on one's own legs. A truly secure person requires nothing outside of oneself to make him or her feel secure. Giving objects the attributes that they do not have, seeing certain qualities in them that are not there, and then dwelling upon them creates attachment, sangha, towards them. Within the flow of what he was teaching, Krishna pointed out that all this and what comes of this sangha. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho bhijayate क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. In the person who dwells upon objects, an attachment is born with reference to them. From attachment is born desire, and from desire, anger is born. From anger comes delusion, and from delusion comes the loss of memory. Because of the loss of memory, the mind becomes incapacitated, and when the mind is incapacitated, the person is destroyed. Then Krishna said, Arjuna, if you really want to know what a wise person is, you have to be wise yourself. There is no other way of understanding such a person. Behavior and so on are not indications of a wise person's wisdom. Ya nisha sarvabhutana tasyam jagarti samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. In that which is night for all beings, the one who is wise, who has mastery over oneself, is awake. That in which all beings are awake is night for the wise one who sees. The difference between those who are wise and those who are not wise is like night and day. What the wise people are awake to, the ignorant people are not awake to. Moreover, what the ignorant are awake to, the wise are not awake to, meaning that what the ignorant think of as reality, the wise do not see as real at all. Night and day here are taken as ignorance and knowledge. In fact, there is no other difference save that between knowledge and ignorance. A wise person understands that everything is I, the Atma, whereas other people think everything is getting me. Thus, one type of person thinks that the world is out to get him or her, and the other type says that the world is himself or herself. Therefore, having described the Sthita Prajna as best as he could, Krishna had to say to Arjuna, how are you going to understand the wise, Arjuna, unless you are wise? Any kind of description is meaningless. To really know what a wise person is, you have to gain wisdom. To explain further, Krishna used a more positive example. Apuryamānamachala pradeshtam samudramāpah pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kamakami. Just as water flows into the ocean that is brimful and still, so too the wise person into whom all objects enter gains peace, remains unchanged, whereas the desirer of objects does not gain peace. The ocean is in no way affected by whether or not the rains happen or the rivers enter it. There is no increase or decrease, no gain or loss for the ocean. No change affects its oceanness, its fullness, because it does not depend upon anything other than itself. In its own glory, without any external support, the ocean is full and complete. Similarly, the fullness of one whose wise is centered on oneself. I am the whole is a fact to which the wise people are awake. Therefore, they require nothing in order to be full. No addition will bring about any change in the wise, nor will any subtraction take away or make any dent in his or her fullness. This too was pointed out. In contrast to an ocean, however, a pond is something that will dry up without rain. And if there is too much rain, the pond is nowhere to be seen. The Kama Kami, one who has to fulfill certain desires in order to be happy, is like a pond. When something pleasant happens, the person hits the ceiling with elation. And when something unpleasant happens, he or she hits rock bottom and may even consider committing suicide. Krishna concluded the second chapter by saying, Vihaya kamanyas sarvan pumamscharati nisprihaha nirmamo nirahankaraha sashantimadhigacchati. Having given up all binding desires, the person who moves around, devoid of longing, without the sense of limited I and mine, gains peace. Esha brahmi sthiti partha nainam prapya vimuhyati sthitva syamantakaalepi brahma nirvanam richati. This is what is meant by being steady in Brahman, O Partha. Having gained this, one is not deluded. Remaining therein, even at the end of one's life, one gains liberation. To be a Sthita Prajna, Krishna said, is the very state of being Brahman. Being in the form of knowledge, this state is not one that you will lose, like the waking state or a drug-induced state. It is something as true as you are. This is why, once this knowledge is gained, there is no question of losing it, because the gain is in terms of knowledge, not experience. The self is understood to be Brahman, the whole, and that understanding is final. Therefore, there can be no falling back into samsara, even if you do not gain this knowledge until you are very old. Antakale api enam prapya na vimuhyati. Even when you are in the last throes of your life, with one foot in the grave, if you come to understand that you are the whole, then you are a free person. And if the very elderly are able to gain this knowledge, then those whose eyes are still able to see, whose ears are still able to hear, and those who are able to sit for a length of time in quiet contemplation can surely come to know. The third chapter began with Arjuna's next question. Arjuna uvacha jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardhana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava. Arjuna said, if, O Janardhana, your contention is that knowledge is better than action, why then do you engage me in this gruesome action, O Keshava? Vyamishrenev vakyena uddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyohamapnuyam. With words that are seemingly contradictory, you appear to be confusing my mind. Having decided which is better, tell me the one thing by which I shall gain liberation. Here, Arjuna presented a problem. Krishna, if I have understood you correctly, you seem to have your heart in knowledge alone. I asked for Shreyas, moksha, from you, and you made it very clear that this can only be gained by knowledge, not by fulfilling desires. You even said that all desires are to be given up. Yet you say I am to perform action. Therefore, I am confused. This is how Arjuna understood what Krishna had said. In fact, Krishna had not said that all one's desires have to be given up. He said that a wise person gives up desires, meaning that he or she has no desire to become secure and happy. The person may have a desire to do something or other, but by fulfilling this desire, he or she is not going to become more secure. Such delusion is no longer there for the wise. Although this was what Krishna actually said, Arjuna took it as he did because he knew that every karma, every action is preceded by desire. Without desire, there is no karma at all. So he thought, if desire is to be given up, then why should I do karma? And how am I to gain knowledge? The only way seems to be to give up all karmas along with the desires that initiate them and seek knowledge. Since Krishna had asked Arjuna to follow karma yoga, to get up and fight, Arjuna was naturally confused. His thinking was, if knowledge will give me shreyas, that is what I should go for. And for the sake of knowledge, I need not do all these actions. All that is needed is to renounce everything, go to a teacher, and gain the knowledge. Therefore, sannyasa seems to be the answer to my problem. In an attempt to resolve the seeming contradiction, Arjuna asked Krishna to tell him once and for all the one thing that would give him shreyas, to which Krishna said, Shri Bhagavanuvacha Lokesmin Vividha Nishta Pura Prokta Maya Nagha Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. Shri Bhagavan said, O sinless one, the twofold committed lifestyle in this world was told by me in the beginning, the pursuit of knowledge for the renunciates and the pursuit of action for those who pursue activity. For Arjuna's question, Krishna could tell that Arjuna had not understood what he had been saying. It is true that sannyasa is a lifestyle, but real karma sannyasa is giving up all actions by knowledge. Jnanena karma sannyasa. While karma yoga is a means, upaya, for gaining this knowledge. To clarify the distinction between sannyasa as a lifestyle and renunciation of action through knowledge, Krishna reminded Arjuna that no one can remain without performing any action at all, regardless of whether the person is a sannyasi or not. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krita karyate hyavashah karma sarva prakriti jair gunaihi. Indeed, no one ever exists for even a second without performing action, because everyone, being helpless, is made to perform action by the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, born of Prakriti. A sannyasi is a person who, having taken certain vows, has given up the obligatory duties prescribed in the Veda. Having become a non-competing person in the society, the sannyasi pursues knowledge to the exclusion of all else. Krishna acknowledged that such a pursuit is available, that sannyasa is a lifestyle dedicated to this pursuit, but cautioned that it is not an easy one. He also explained that karma yoga is another lifestyle and is a means for real sannyasa, sarva karma sannyasa, which can be achieved by both the sannyasi and the karma yogi. To live a life of sannyasa requires that you have a certain mind, a certain contemplativeness, which can be achieved through karma yoga. When you live a life of karma yoga as a householder, for example, you do not lose anything. In fact, you gain. This is true for any mumukshu, any seeker who is in a stage of life other than sannyasa. Each one gains the same end because knowledge is something that is to be pursued. Therefore, Arjuna could pursue the knowledge even as a karma yogi. This is what Krishna wanted him to understand. We saw in the second chapter that one does not become a karma yogi without the proper attitude with reference to Ishvara being the karma phaladata, the giver of the fruits of action, and knowing that I am only the performer of action. When I have this attitude, the results of all actions are taken by me as prasada. Also, every action that I perform is a yajna, a sacrifice or offering to the Lord. This attitude was again highlighted and discussed in the third chapter. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyah paramavapsyatha. Propitiate the deities with this yajna. May those deities propitiate you. Propitiating one another, you shall gain the highest good, moksha. Ishtan bhogani vo deva dasyante yajna bhavitaha tairdattana pradayabhyo yo bhunte stena eva saha. The gods propitiated by yajna will give you desirable objects. Therefore, the one who enjoys objects given by them without offering to them in return is indeed a thief. Yajnashishtashinas santo mujjante sarva kilbishaihi bhunjate te tvagam papa e pachantyatma karanat. Those who eat, having first offered the food to the Lord, are released from impurities, whereas those simple people who cook only for themselves eat papa or sin. In this detailed way, Krishna explained how the attitude of Karma Yoga can release you from the hold of your likes and dislikes when the action you perform is done as a worship or a sacrifice. Then Krishna said, Sadrisham cheshtate swasyaha prakritirjnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Even a wise person acts in keeping with his or her own nature, because all beings follow their own nature. Of what use is control? Each one thinks according to his or her own prakriti. Likes and dislikes are something that you cannot stop. They just happen. All thoughts happen in your mind and you have no say over their occurrence. Collectively, they equal your own prakriti, your own disposition. Whatever you have done in previous lives, prarabdha karma, and in this life also, all your dharma, punya, papa, samskaras, set up certain thoughts in your mind, and there is no way of stopping this from happening. Even Ishvara cannot stop it. He himself has set it up like this, and he cannot cross his own mandate, nor can anyone else. Neither Ishvara's control nor anyone else's can change a person's prakriti. The person will remain the same. Even if one were to control one's thoughts by negating them, one would have to continue this negation throughout one's entire lifetime. Given the fact that one cannot control one's thoughts, is it not better to ask why thoughts should be considered a problem in the first place? The person for whom thoughts are a problem has a permanent nightmare because thought is always there. Only a long sleep can help. In fact, thoughts themselves are not the problem. Another question that arises is, if I cannot control my thoughts, what is the purpose of the Shastra? If everyone simply performs action according to his or her prakriti, a person can commit murder and say, it is my nature, my disposition to do such things. I cannot do otherwise. To take care of any such conclusion, Krishna also said that you are the one who goes along with or withdraws from the thought of committing murder, which is where your will comes in. You cannot control your thoughts, but you can choose which thoughts you are going to identify with and which you are not going to identify with. This is the only freedom you have, and this freedom is enough. Thus Krishna said, Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadveshau vyavastitau tayornavashamagachet tauhyasya paripanthinau. There is attachment and aversion with reference to every sense object. May one not come under the spell of these two because they are one's enemies. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushtitat swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. Better is one's own imperfectly performed dharma than the well-performed dharma of another. Death in one's own dharma is better. The dharma of another is fraught with fear. Here Krishna pointed out that even if your own dharma, what is to be done by you, is rather unpleasant, it is better to be with it than to be with someone else's dharma, a dharma that does not belong to you at all. A thing that is not to be done by you, even though it can be done by another person who is in another stage of life, is not your dharma. I'll read this again. A thing that is not to be done by you, even though it can be done by another person who is in another stage of life, is not your dharma. For example, a sannyasi does not perform the daily rituals enjoined in the Veda. Nevertheless, this is no reason for a grahastha, a householder, not to do them. Each person has to perform action according to his or her situation. It is better to die doing one's own action because to do otherwise is fraught with fear. It does not benefit you, nor does it benefit the society in which you live. Therefore, Krishna said each person has to do his or her own karma. In other words, one's own dharma has to be followed. Arjuna then raised a doubt. Arjuna uvacha athakena prayuktoyam Papam charati purushaha anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. Arjuna said, O Varshneya, impelled by what does a person commit sin? As though pushed by some force, even though not desiring to. Arjuna wanted to know why a person does things that he or she knows are wrong. Although the person is convinced that certain actions are not proper, still he or she does them. Why is that? Is there a force other than oneself? A devil or something? A Satan other than oneself? Is there, as some theologies maintain, a force other than the divine? Is there a demonic force called evil in this world, which is independent of the divine force? Is it that the divine force wants you to do right things and the demonic force comes along and impels you to do the wrong thing? If so, the demonic force certainly seems to be more powerful than the divine force. In fact, Krishna said, there is no such force. The only devil is the one within. You are it. This he expressed in the following way. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyena Miha Vairinam. Shri Bhagavan said, this desire, this anger born of guna, rajas, is a glutton and a great sinner. Know that to be the enemy here in this world. Arjuna, it is nothing but your karma alone. Krishna said, karma does it, krodha does it. Once desire becomes a passion, priorities become confused. The power of karma is such, the desire is so virulent that you no longer care what means you adopt to fulfill the desire. You cut corners wherever you can, compromising the means, because the end has become so important. This is the problem, Arjuna. This enemy in the form of karma covers you just as the fire is covered by smoke, the mirror by a coat of dust, and the fetus by the womb, Krishna explained. This karma is a permanent enemy for the Viveki. He or she must deal with it, first by knowing that it operates with reference to sense pursuits and is located in the mind and buddhi. Indriyani mano buddhihi asya adhishtanam uchyate. Having understood this, you then have to step outside the karma about which Krishna said, Indriyani paranyahuhu indriyebhyah param manaha manasastu para buddhihi yo buddhe paratastu saha. They say that the sense organs are superior to the body, the mind is superior to the sense organs, the intellect is superior to the mind, whereas the one who is superior to the intellect is he, the Atma. Here Krishna explained that the Indriyas, the senses, are superior to the physical body because of their subtler, more pervasive nature. However, the senses themselves are absolutely harmless because the mind is superior to them, even though the mind has doubts and so on. The senses are just so many reporters and do not harm anyone. They are simply instruments that have been given to you for a purpose and are not meant to take you for a ride. They are in the hands of the mind. The mind itself is a problem because the buddhi, the intellect, does not function when the mind's fancies overpower it. The mind is in the hands of the buddhi. The mind and the buddhi being nothing but different types of thought belonging to the same antahkarana alone. Whichever is more powerful, a thought of the mind or a thought of the buddhi is going to rule the day. If the mind is more powerful, it will definitely rob your wisdom away, making you do what is not to be done and omit what is to be done. To keep these thoughts in their proper places, you have to step out of the mind and the buddhi. Only then will you understand a thought as a thought. The nature of a human being is determined by one's thoughts and by one's conclusions about oneself. The sense that I am imperfect, I am incomplete, I am useless, or I am worthless is a conclusion. Such conclusions are the basis for your constant attempt to prove yourself to be somebody, to make yourself into someone who will be acceptable in your own eyes. In this way, life becomes a constant struggle. Krishna concluded the third chapter by telling Arjuna that there is only one way to solve this problem, and that is to solve it fundamentally. He said, Evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhyatmanamatmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. O mighty armed one, Arjuna, knowing that which is superior to the intellect in this way, having made the mind steady with the buddhi, destroy the enemy that is in the form of desire, that which is so difficult to understand. One must step out of one's buddhi by recognizing that which is above the buddhi, the Atma, which is ever pure, Shuddha, limitless, Ananda, full, Purna, the only reality, Satya. Knowing this Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, this Brahma Atma, you are free. Once you have this knowledge, all your desires, all your thoughts become privileges only. Your mind, your thought, your buddhi, all of them become so many adjuncts or upadhis for you. In themselves, these upadhis are limited, but the person is free from any such limitation. Hence, for such a person, the desires become a privilege. Kama, desire, is not something that can be easily understood because it comes in 100 different forms and in situations where you would never expect it. But kama can be given up in the sense that you can step out of it. Then the desires are simply known to you. They cannot harm you. This is the only way to deal with kama because there is no end to the desires that can arise. Thus, step out and be free because you are already free. You need only discover this fact.
I think this is the last paragraph, is the crux of the summary,
Yeah,
complete. So we have to step out of this all body, mind, or the 7 layers, what we say exist. So we have to go beyond it and step out and discover that we are free already. And we need not have to limit ourselves. We are limitless. This is the main summary, I think, of 2 and 3 chapters.
yeah.
Can you read this again once more?
Yeah, or can we screen it and put it on the group? That is better way.
Yeah,
I can put it in the.
Yeah, or you can take a picture of this and put it there. Kama, desire, is not something that can be easily understood because it comes in 100 different forms and in situations where you would never expect it. But karma can be given up in the sense that you can step out of it. Then the desires are simply known to you. They cannot harm you. This is the only way to deal with karma because there is no end to the desires that can arise. Thus, step out and be free because you are already free. You need only discover this fact.
Very good. See, they say, then the desire is simply known to you. Means you become a witness for that. Desires are coming, you witness it. You need not have to give importance to it and attach to it. So no, this thought is coming, this desire is coming, this. Only if you witness, it will go, it will vanish. There is a crux of this whole, what we do, what we even do, the kriya and all that. Thoughts will be coming, we'll just see the thoughts, it vanishes. See the thought, witness, just witness. That sentence is very, very good. Then the desire are simply known to you. They cannot harm you. Wonderful. That is the crux of all whatever we do. Sadhana.
Thank
Next.
you, Didi.
Thank you.
Before we go to chapter 4, maybe we will, we can summarize this and then do a bit of manana on this and then go to chapter 4. Also, if we have any questions with respect to this, we can put them down. You can either note them down yourself or put it in the group, because tomorrow Nana will be there and we can clarify any questions either with respect to the first 3 chapters or any of the other chapters before we go forward. So this the summary of the first 3 chapters is like taking a bird's eye view of the first 3 chapters, wherein how Arjuna, this all started off. Arjuna only wanted to settle an account with Duryodhana. That was his desire, and that is how the whole Mahabharata, the war came in. Although Krishna had several attempts at trying to avert the war. But finally, on the battlefield, when Arjuna saw all his people, and he was overcome by extreme compassion. Swajanam, he was able to relate to them as my people. So that got him into this sudden depth of sorrow, and therefore he was not able to, he wanted to leave. He didn't want to fight. And he gave a whole lot of explanation as to what will happen because of the war, how adharma will proliferate, and all those seemingly very logical explanations of the consequence of such a war. Whereas Krishna very patiently listened to all of that, like a very patient listener. He did not say a word in the first chapter. He let Arjuna spell out, bring up all his anguish. And then he says, Ashocyan and he tells Arjuna, the first few verses in chapter 2, is Klaibyam Masmagama Partha. This unmanliness is very unbecoming of you. So drop this. He gives him that little thing. But even then, Arjuna continues. He says, how can I kill my own teacher and Bhishma, my own grandson?
We should, Pramalaji, we should understand here that if such thought comes to us, we should know that we are Klaibham, means it is undoing of us. You see, that is the lesson there. Many times when problems comes, when we cannot handle it and all that,
Right.
So we want to get out of it. So take sannyasa, you see. That is the meaning of that. So, but before going through all this body, mind, conscious, this what you call Atma Shuddhi. What is that? Which the Shuddhi of all this body, mind,
Antakarana
complex,
Shuddhi.
Antakarana Shuddhi. That before that we should not jump into it. You know. So for such
Sannyasa does not necessarily mean
mean that.
sannyasa. What you rightly pointed out, when we are faced with such situations that Arjuna was in, of dropping and letting go and say, oh, this is not something I can do, that will become unmanly.
That is what. So unmanly.
Yeah.
So when you pinch that, no, when you you pinch to ego, then everyone becomes there's no, and then what is that next? So the knowledge flows then only. Otherwise, we become unmanly and we lose the battle. Because he's already in the battle.
Maybe here we can share some examples so that we will all understand better, and we can then be in the shoes of Arjuna, so that
Yeah, many situations comes, So there will be many problems like the debts, the people, they run away from the debt, So that becomes unmanly only. So he has to face it, do it, fight it, but doing that without the attachment. That is what is the. So this is the way we have to look into this verse.
Very good. It's like, I don't remember his name. There was this businessman who started this coffee day. What is that called? There is this chain of cafes in Bangalore and most of
Cafe
South
Coffee Day. Cafe Coffee.
Cafe Coffee Day, right?
Yes,
I think that person, I don't know his name, but he landed himself into deep debt, and it is believed that he committed suicide because he was not able to come out of it. So, like what Sureshji rightly pointed out, it is one example where it was very unmanly of him. Everybody goes through debt, especially in business. These ups and downs are inevitable. So this is for a business person, but we all have to look within and see whether we are being unmanly or unwomanly in so many ways in our day-to-day life. Are we giving up on certain things just because we're not able to, handle them? And our mind will give so many examples, so many reasons, very logical conclusions that will take us away from doing what we have to do. Simple examples could be following our swakarma, our swadharma, swakarma. If you are not able to do that, and because you would end up giving so many explanations, justifications for not doing it, it is no different from what Arjuna wanted to do in the first chapter and in the beginning of the second chapter.
I think here we need to really ponder upon many points. As the times change, so many things in the 21st century definitely are taking very different directions, especially with the youth. So in such situations, like following the dharma also sometimes become very like which path we need to choose. We are going through a typical age now, and this is the time when we need to divert and devote ourselves more into this direction of spiritual understanding and learning sadhana, satsang, seva, and all. But then you can always find that it is my dharma to like, are we taking the responsibility of our children also? Means their responsibilities, are we taking it on our head because they are very busy with their ambitions? We really need to ponder over it, because uh, now my sisters, co-sisters, they are little bit elder to me, and they say ki you go, you do your job, you move on, we will look after your children, don't worry about that. And they are day night busy looking after the small babies now, as if so. I don't know. As the times change, do we really need to, means are we pampering our daughters, our girls, daughter-in-laws ambitions, or I don't know if somebody who is more mature in this can guide us. Jai Gurudev.
I think it's not right to be a career woman. Like you said, with changing times, there is a need in order to maybe run the family that both the husband and wife need to work. I'm not sure whether we should go back to the Vedic system where the woman would stay back at home. It would be only the man who would go and work. So I think with being a career woman is fine. And if your responsibility can be delegated to a more to a trustworthy person, why not? Because see, if you have learned, and education is an ongoing thing, you don't expect a girl who's been educated to sit at home and take care of the children, isn't it? And that's my opinion. There may be different opinions over there, so it is open to discussion. I think it is all dependent on situation, time, place, and each one's priorities at that point of time. That is why we have maternity leave. That is why there are some women who opt to go on maternity leave, extend it for about 6 months or so, till they take care of their little ones to a certain extent, and then continue with their career. So I think it is all about balancing your life and its priorities over here, rather than it is not black or white.
I'm not talking about the youngsters, what they are taking the step. I'm talking about our age group and little bit who are more than our age group, 5 years. So what is happening? The mothers and mother-in-laws are offering their whole life to take care of grandchildren. That is the issue. And what is happening? They are completely again back to the square when they are not just going for one chit fund party and all. They think that they are getting so much freedom, and they are completely caught up in looking after the grandchildren. And I don't know, somewhere I think so, and this is the time then we really need to a little bit अपना धर्मा अभी थोड़ा उसको comma full stop देके we need to uh, go in this spiritual direction. And I don't know, there is some imbalance happening definitely.
I think, but you can still be spiritual while doing your job as a grandmother or grandfather, right? How is it going to be taking you away from um, from pursuing your spiritual pursuits? True, you may not have the physical freedom in going to, say, the ashram or going someplace, but your mind is with you, and your mind is what you have to handle. So you can, of course, listen or read or approach, you know, if you have the intention, if you are a mumukshu, there will be ways and means that come to you. That is my belief. So I think even while doing your duty as the grandmother, taking care of your grandchildren, I don't think we are pampering, or I'm not sure. This is my my input to this.
Because we have not come at that stage till now, but I am seeing my co-sisters and all so many times, like they are practically because children's energies and see the modern
But
facilities.
Madhuri ji, aren't they doing, if they're able to do whatever they're doing as karma yoga, as yajna, even taking care of a little child is yajna, isn't it?
But
While
then means, we say ki we should be firm in whenever the choices come. So where that firmness is there? You are choosing still the samsara at the age of when you are reaching now 60, you are already around 60 now. Iske baad kabhi, for even to perform the sadhana seva satsang, you need to have a certain amount of energy and clarity. Otherwise, you are completely bogged down. Taking care of small kids is the most challenging thing, and it has to come through the youngsters. Giving the little bit background support is different. And completely getting drowned, you are not a mother to the child, you are grandmother to the child. And that viveka has to dawn. If not now, then when? Just by small kids need lot of energy and the time to miss for performing every their throughout the day, taking care of them. I don't know. And then this sadhana seva satsangs, they little bit need more stability and little bit focused mind. With the small children around, they not only around, but you are responsible for their upbringing is very something very different, which has to come through the youngsters. That we cannot replace. We can give that support system. Ki, okay, you are going this time to this time out, I am there. But you leave your children with me and you do whatever you want, then you are completely stuck. You are not in the age of 25 to 30 now. You are reaching 60. Abhi nahi karoge satsang sadhana, to kabhi karoge? You are stuck with their breakfast, bathing them, taking them to the school, bringing them back, और उनका पूरा दिन भर का धमाल up and down करना, it's just practically impossible. And then you are completely drowned into it. You cannot imagine, because we are not into that age now. You just 5 साल अपने से बड़े लोगों को देखो और उनका lifestyle देखो. And otherwise, little bit time you get, you just want to have as if you yourself have become 20-23 age group, जाके थिल्लर जैसा वो अपने एज ग्रुप की लेडीज के साथ समथिंग बिकिनी पहन के ट्राई की कुछ तो भी आई थिंक our age group also need to channelize our energies in proper direction. I feel so, because I can see so many ladies around me who are getting misguided and misunderstanding the dharma. Jai Gurudev.
I think
No.
what you shared here is what you need to share with the people at your level in your environment. The same things which you said here, the balancing act that Gurudev talks about, like how you ride a bicycle, you first have to learn to balance it. So material and spiritual both have to go hand in hand together. You have to do the balancing act. You talk about it, talk it over with the people concerned. Whatever you have told here is exactly what you need to tell them. And this is how much of responsibility you can take, no more than that. So let them be responsible for their children, and whatever else. See, your rich experience, the samskars that you can give is what you can share with the younger children in the house. There is a lot of experience behind you which you can, in their upbringing, that you can use to their advantage. But if the whole responsibility is down, that you need to tell them the same way as you are telling over here. And there is no need to be goody-goody all the time. But without hurting anybody, if you can, just like you said your message here, you announce your message there also in that group. I need my time too. Like how we have our time for our sadhana. This is my time for myself, for my growth. So I come what may, whether my wife was in hospital or what, that sadhana time is sadhana time. I will keep doing my sadhana. That I will never give up. So that my time that you need for your sadhana, if you have to go for a satsang, and that other person is going to a kitty party or something, sorry, I have to go. That has to be very clear that there is no compromise on that. You need to go to satsang. Sadhana seva satsang you need to do. That time you need to clarify. That full day you cannot take the responsibility of the children. They cannot be
Yeah,
dumped on you.
that Viveka thing I am talking about.
Without using bitter words, carry the message across.
Because we never, our children also got very beautiful sanskaras through the grandparents, but we never were so much dependent, and we were not pushing and putting all our these things on our parents. But this generation is very cunning, I think so. I don't know, and our generation is getting stuck. A little bit elder to our generation are getting stuck between the dharma and this thing. Definitely more awareness.
Fully
नहीं
agree
तो
with
सब लोग
you.
कहते हैं, हाँ, नहीं तो क्या बोलते हैं कि तुमको आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग वालों को बोलने के लिए क्या जाता है? Who will take care of our grandchildren? Only we have to extend ourselves. बोल के वो लोग like I don't know, but this is
Those
the
kind of words.
major issue in the. Otherwise, the youngsters, they say we don't want to have children only. Don't push us into that. We don't want to take responsibility. उतना भी उल्टा जवाब देने के लिए आज के youngsters ready हैं.
See, before they have children, you are not pushing them to have children. And if they already have children, that is their headache. They have to look after. They cannot dump their responsibility. And you will not be a football of their opinion, art of living, kya jane, and why should you spend your time? They may be thinking that why you spend your time in irrelevant activities which are relevant to you. For them, a kitty party is relevant. For you, your satsang is relevant. So don't be a football of their opinions. Yeah, so many people have told me, yeah, Gurudev has amassed so much of property. He's so wealthy. He has got so many 1,000 crores to his credit and all those kind of things. People come up and say, our own family members say he has amassed a lot of wealth. All those kind of things people say. All ignorant people are there, even in the family itself. It's all right. Let them be what they are. They are ignorant. But you put your foot down. There should be no this thing in your progress towards spirituality. What you need to do, see, if you're becoming a football, then what use this knowledge to you? What use is the satsang to you? What use is this knowledge that Gurudev has given, precious knowledge? If you're going to become football of other people, put your foot down and say, no, I need to go to the satsang. I'm not going to look after your child. You call a babysitter, keep a babysitter and go. Something like that. You need to put your foot down wherever you need to put it down.
You have to set your priorities. If you don't have that priority, then our goal should be mumukshu, moksha. For that, what is needed, we have to do it. If you don't have that eye on the moksha, then all whatever sadhana, what we are doing will be incomplete. We have to have that commitment, we have to have that everything. Otherwise, when we have entered in this path, we have to follow slowly. It may be difficult. It's always difficult, Atha yoga anushasanam, they say, no? Yoga means it is self-disciplining ourselves. Anushasana, ruling ourselves. And we have entered this and we have to rule ourselves. We have to see what priority we want, then act accordingly, act wisdomly.
Yeah, true. I agree, because we are already into it for so many years, and This
No, they
is
do not have. See,
but
the young children may
talking
not be having the clarity.
that the dharma thing.
Will not have the
I,
clarity. Slowly it will come. We should not talk to them like that at all. The Krishna only says, no, those who do not know, we should not force them. We have to bring slowly, 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 very slowly. And we cannot blame that. It is always, it is their own luck. It is their own, what we call, karma. No, the basic, what we are thinking. So this, they have to understand their own duty,
this is
that
very
is what.
important what Suresh said.
So unless we cannot force them.
They are escaping and they are putting the pressure on
No,
the
but you have to follow yourself because they will
Somewhere we
follow
need to
you.
draw the line.
See, no, you have to follow
in
your.
the name of dharma, if we give in, then we have to understand that we are grandparents, we are not the parents to the child, and that youth must understand that. Somewhere this is becoming a very common trend now. As if
Swadharma.
grandparents only want to have the grandchildren, youngsters are shirking away from their
No, we cannot say
responsibilities.
that. We cannot say that. We parents have to follow our thing, then they automatically follow. Unless we follow, they will not follow. We cannot have to say.
Raju said there is no any black and white, it is very individual. But here why I shared this, because the dharma thing is coming up, not like Arjuna was in the dilemma. So it is very personal level for each and every individual. If some in every house and every family, it is different. So we cannot generalize it. But what I have seen, I am sharing it with you. That little bit elder to our group, this is the very common thing happening. So, is it the dharma of grandparents to look after the grandchildren like parents?
No, you think about this yourself also, na? What is your dharma now that you are on this path? Is it more important for you to look after children sitting at home and missing out on the satsang, or is it your dharma to go to the satsang?
This thing is very clear, because already what
then
I'm
what
saying
are you
that,
following your dharma? You follow your dharma first, and then
yeah,
lead
yeah,
them to follow their
I
dharma.
have still time to be into that grandmother thing, but whatever is happening around me, especially see when we were young, we were so engrossed into looking after the family. Now is the time little bit we are getting more free, but instead of focusing our channelizing our this thing more into the sadhana seva satsang, now the current trend, whatever is going on around, that I am sharing, where the dilemma comes, what is the dharma as grandparents, and there we need to have a little bit focus more on mumukshatva, at least if not now, then when? I'm talking about in general this thing, not specific to myself. Still, I have time to become grandmother. Just what I observed around me, when I say ki, now enough, now it's the time you come and learn the Sudarshan Kriya, sit for the Bhagavad Gita. Then my Nand and all they say ki, idhar time hai, bachcho ke piche bhagne mein hi time ja raha hai. Like that. That is their priority. Of course, it is not mine, but this is the current situation trend going on. That's what I shared on this platform. Nothing more than that.
Yeah,
Not for
Hari
my
Om.
personal.
Hari Om. Correct. What you said is correct. Actually, just if we just go back to not very long, maybe 100 years or even 50, 60, 70 years back, what was happening is, like, there used to be a couple, they'll have children get married, and the usual practices of the order of the family is, the girl, when she gets married, she goes to the husband's place, and the girl whom your son marries comes to your house to stay. Then usually what happens is that younger couple, the beta jo hai, it used to be the man who goes to work, and it used to be the lady of the house taking care of the home. And the elder couple were staying, the younger couple were staying, all were in a kind of a joint family only, kitne bhi bache ho. So as time passes, when the uh, eldest of the family, I mean the parents, they keep growing older, and the bache jab maa baap bante hain, even then the practice then used to be the mother was staying at home and taking care of the kids, father was going to work, let it be either to going to farm and doing kheti baji, or going for any job or whatever it is. Then the mothers used to take care of the kids during daytime, and the grandmothers, not that they were not helping, they were, but gradually, their role, the grandparents, their role was in the advisory. थोड़ा बहुत मैनुअल करते थे, फिजिकल वर्क भी, लेकिन more or less out of their experience, advisory. When a new child is born, for example, the grandmother of the house, initially she gives, kyunki giving bath to a newborn days old baby is not a joke. So out of her experience, pura, she used to give all the directions 3-4 times, 5 times. She used to bathe the baby herself and show, ऐसा नाकों में पानी नहीं जाना, कानों में नहीं जाना, ऐसा करना है, वैसा करना है, you have to take care, and this should be the temperature. How you should even check the water before putting it on the small baby's body, the heat of the this one. Sab kuch, it used to be, I used to observe, it used to be like, chota things, but now when we look at people, sorry to say, because when I talk about ladies, no, बहुत sensitive होता है. I'll share one experience a couple of minutes from now. It used to be the case, but going forward, what happened is, for whatever reason, the lady of the house started going out for work. This has happened. The wife, the lady of the house going to work. Kabhi, I think it became more popular in the last, maybe 50 years, if I am not wrong, or maybe even less. 70s, 80s, maybe we did not see so many people working, maybe 80s, like what I mean. Then, when the lady of the house started going for work, then it so happened that, theek hai, the husband's role or thoda rising to the occasion bolte, it had to happen. And not in many places they have done, but in many places the man of the house also started sharing the domestic chores. Otherwise, as a thumb rule, the homework, the teacher se milna hai, all these used to be the lady of the house. It's not like improper distribution of work. Tabhi it was a kind of proper distribution of the work, because the man was supposed to do entire outdoor work. The bachon ka was 90% or 80% with the mother. Like that it used to be. Now the distribution kaisa karna, the percentages and the equations have changed with the lady of the house going out for work. Not in quite a few cases, not necessarily because they needed additional money. It was only necessarily because they wanted to have a better material life. Let us put it this way. Better material life ke liye they started. And when that happened, things have started this way. But what I feel, the grandparents को even in today's life, उनको थोड़ा बहुत advisory role में रखना है, थोड़ा बहुत help भी कर सकते हैं. Like what Madhuri ji said, 24/7 उनका सर पे टोपना is everyone has to think about. And talking about the things, my nature is, when I am in a group, I keep joking, even satsangs maybe. What happened? एक बार हमारा घर में सत्संग हो रहा था here in Bahrain. One lady and her husband सत्संग होने के बाद ठीक है प्रेम जी हम चलते हैं जय गुरुदेव बोल रहे थे, लेडी का पर्स या फोन गिर गया नीचे. She bent to take it up, and it so happened that the phone fell down in front of the husband's feet. मैं जोक किया था, हाँ परफेक्ट दी, इतना पादाभिवंदनम कर रहे हैं आप, और सच ए नाइस लेडी बोला, बस हो गया. I think Rahu Kalam came for me at that time. Then she said, no, I was not doing any Padabhivandanam to anybody. I will not do all that. Ye wo bol diya tha. So now these kind of feelings, if they are not there in the family, what I am saying is, then the sharing of responsibilities in the current day's life, you will not have these feelings that I am doing more, you are doing more. Why the grandparents should not do a little more? वो तो घर में ही रहते हैं. The very subtle feelings that come from within, it goes with our thought process. किसी को भी जोर से बोलना भी we cannot. This is very, very sensitive. Like I think Percy ji was saying, you should make those people know. Madhuri ji, if you are taking it up, no, it is very sensitive and subtle way में बोलना पड़ता है. But personally, I agree. बड़े लोगों को उनका रोल एडवाइजरी पे रखना है, very little physical में रखना है. But how we do it is a big dilemma in the current day's world and scenario. That is what I also keep thinking a lot. So Hari Om.
It is not only like just now I gave examples, the little bit elderly ladies in my contact, my own relationships or friend circle. But believe me, one girl, she is like a solicitor and doing fantastic job, and she used to be so restless in her kriya. And itna मैं बोलती थी कि अरे but are you sensitive enough? You are disturbing others. इतना रोना धोना और repetitively once in a while it's okay. Then one day she stayed back after the long follow-up, and then she shared ki I have one very small daughter, and all these things whatever I just now shared and Premji shared, same thing is happening. Her mother-in-law has clearly said कि तुम्हारा जिंदगी है तुम संभालो. They are having their own lifestyles and everything. They are very affluent and influential people in Mumbai. Her in-laws. And then mother says कि मैं तेरे बच्चे को कितना संभालूं. तो ये she is so restless throughout कि that my child is getting neglected and my promotion is due and her responsibilities are left, right, center so much in her career. So every moment she is anxious and she is so tensed up that she is not able to do even the kriya thoroughly. सोहम में भी वो रोती रहती है. Lying down is not possible for her because everywhere it is paining, that so much stiffness is coming in different parts of the body. This stresses are getting released. तो ऐसा सब करके तुम where you are leading your lives, yeah, sorry we are deviating, but then where this dharma and this thing balancing act comes, and I don't know, your ambitions, your career, and your own joy and your responsibility for the social this thing, and then not having the children. And this is I don't know, very different way the society is going, and especially when they come for the follow-ups and for satsang. Of course, none of us as teachers we have any solutions for this, but then it creates little bit this thing in our minds also, when we are sitting Arjuna के position से भी multiple
No.
Arjuna
I
sometimes
agree with. I understand what you are saying. ऐसे cases मैं और भ्रमरा भी बहुत सारे देखे हैं. But personally, for me, मैं तो बोलता था to parents when both the parents are coming for the satsang, leaving the kids at home, when there is no one to look after the kids even for that 1 hour. I have seen some families. तब तो मैं बोला था, यार, you can come for satsang and you can do all that, but if you feel that your kids need you more, a judgment to aap hi le sakte hai. It is not anybody in the world who can tell you. If you feel, if you perceive that your kids need you, you stay back. Bhagwan or Guruji is not going to blame you. They will in fact blame you if you neglect your children. ये बात है. Many times एक बार सिंगर आया था यहाँ परफॉर्मेंस कर रहा था आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग का. Kids were screaming and concert was going on. बीच में वो रोके वो बोला है take care of the kids. No, बोला था हाँ भैया गुरुजी देख लेंगे. This is in many of our art of living functions. Well, बच्चों को छोड़ो गुरुजी will take care बोल के इसे बोलते थे. Then in a very subtle way he showed his anger saying Guruji appointed you to take care of them. Don't expect, don't throw all your shoulder ka burden onto Guruji. Well, Guruji was not there, but everyone know. I leave everything to Guruji. बोल के many very usually we keep listening to this. No, that is not like in this particular solicitor के example जो आप बोले थे. She could not pick up her priorities. She could not balance her life. We have seen in our very close family one couple who had two daughters who have exceptionally achieved in their career and all that. Her mother, that couple, husband was non-medical, just like me and Brahmara, and the wife is a medical, very busy doctor. It so happened that children have grown up, they went off to different countries and all that. Then suddenly घर सूना हो गया, बच्चे चले गए. Then casually, very casually, one of the aunties होते हैं ना, you are so lucky, both your parents are highly educated, that these ये वो कुछ बोली थी. And then the feeling that was suppressed in one of the child के दिल में जो दबा हुआ था वो बातों में ये करी थी. हाँ आंटी, that's all okay, but you know, फादर तो बिजी था ऑफिस में, मदर उनके ड्यूटीज ये पूरा करते करते हुए ना मेडिकल ड्यूटीज, where did she really have time to spend with us auntie? बोली just one sentence. This mother overheard that. ऐसे घरों में जब फंक्शन में किचन में कोई आंटी हेल्प करते करते ये बात बोली तो बेटी ये बात बोल दी. That's it for next so many years. जब भी वो बात याद आती है, highly achieved doctor, फूट फूट के रोती है. But that's it, वो गाड़ी निकल चुकी है आपके हाथ से. बच्चों के दिल में जो फीलिंग है वो है. They may not say anything to you because you will get hurt. And they are very senior couple to us. जब वो कहानी मैं सुना, somebody else told me, then I told Brahmara, देखो Brahmara, we have to learn from somebody's experiences. बोल के let us see what we can do. I don't say we also could spend time 24/7 with our kids, but somehow we managed. When one parent is out, मेरा भी job, it was terribly like traveling. Usually I used to come home at 3:30 a.m. after overseas travel, and 8 o'clock I used to be in the office. Sometimes same evening I had to catch the flight to another country. ऐसा भी होता था. At that time she handled in the best way she could. When she had night duties, call duties back to back, I handled. At least it's not very ideal that both the parents are not there at the same time, quite a few times, but at least we tried to see that at least one parent was there with the kids when they needed. ऐसा कर किए थे हम. We learned it from somebody's experiences. ऐसा पूरा माधुरी जी, maybe you can in a very subtle way. नहीं तो ना, it becomes a very sensitive issue. I'm telling you openly now, the career ladies को आप कुछ भी बोलेंगे ना, hell will break loose. Particularly if a man says, maybe they will not feel so bad, but if another lady says, they'll feel very bad. ये पूरा देख के, if you want to do something good, पहले आप अपना देख लीजिए. What will happen to you if you say बाद में?
No, I don't because see, they just come for the kriya. So I feel so that my seva and my duty gets over the moment the kriya is over.
You know the
And
trick,
then
you know
not
the
to,
secret. I'll share a small
not to,
secret. किसी को भी
yeah.
मैसेज ऐसा देना है तो क्रिया होने के बाद नॉलेज शेयरिंग होता है ना, उसमें मैं दे देता हूँ. वेरी सटल वे आप ऐसा कर सकते हैं. हरिओम.
Yeah, but what is trying to replace parenthood by grandparents? This is the trend which is happening. Because what happens, now suppose I'm just hypothetically I'm talking, your daughter gets married and she is extremely doing, she is in her peak of this thing after marriage for 4 5 years. Now the time is there that she has to take the chance, because biological clock is ticking away and her career is also at its peak, and then she has the baby and she talks to you and Brahmaraji and क्या करोगे आप, ऐसा हो रहा है आज. And in such situations always parents of the girl are giving up and they are becoming the parents for the grandchildren. That's what I am this is the little bit ये social बहुत अजीब ढंग से very different way में जा रहा है, and because of that the youngsters, see, in our own, in front of our own house in last 2 3 years we can see very young boys and girls, they are just 20, 12 13 14 15, trust me, and they are coming and they are trying different kinds of drugs in Mumbai, in Santa Cruz. It is so scary, and parents are totally unaware, they are coming from very good houses.
Exactly. What do you say? What do you say?
पुलिस को बुला
Hariom,
लो.
1 second,
Hmm.
Jai Gurudev. I think this discussion can go on and on.
Very right.
What I would like to sum up here is that true, there is an issue. We are here to progress as mumukshus. We are not here to rid the society of its evils. That is number one. That we have to understand as mumukshus. You follow what your swadharma is. Second, with respect to families and situations, not every grandparent is in this situation. It may also be linked to his prarabdha, their prarabdha, probably. It's an interplay of several factors. It's not just one factor. Third, if you are doing your swadharma and you're bringing up your children in the right way, making them understand their duties and responsibilities, you will not end up with having trust your grandchildren upon you, because your children would have understood their roles and responsibilities well enough. So I guess it's a complex thing, but it will go on and on. I think this is going to be an endless discussion. All due respects to everyone contributing to this. This is a very good discussion we've had. It is up to us to have a look into ourselves and see how well we can progress. We set a role model. We be exemplaries. And for that, I think we'll stick to the thing of being true sadhaks. Right?
Exactly.
It is
So
more about yourself.
up
How are
to
you
the,
refining yourself? We are worried
exactly.
about
It is up to the
everything
younger
else.
parents who need to
Yeah.
think. The younger parents need to think what should be their role and how much they should lean back on the parents. Sab log baith ke na, they need to discuss and
Yeah.
come
I
to
think
a workable package. Yes.
correct. I think, see, when it concerns you, you think about it. When it concerns your neighbor, it is actually his or her headache. Why are you taking it upon on yourself? You're not here to clean the society. The society right from Satya Yuga, Treta, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga has had such elements. So we are not here to
No, Brahmara, here I
clean
have to
the
just
society.
say, I have
But
to say
here
that
we are,
it's not the cleaning society, Brahmara. It's only in a very subtle way giving a message and leave it. Educate and ignore. Not that sabko
yeah, that is,
pakad ke you are not supposed to do like this. You cannot
no,
say it will backfire.
which is okay, which is fine.
And,
So here
and
you
what
are.
about our social responsibilities? If something is going wrong around us, are we supposed to just sit quiet? Are we not supposed to say something or do something? I mean, your karma has to uplift yourself and the society also, right? People around you. So, and
True,
what
you can
Madhuriji
take
was
up the
saying is, yeah, and
society.
Madhuriji was saying, definitely it makes a difference. A mother raising her child and grandparents doing it. And the best example I would think now is Shivaji Maharaj. Jizabai brought up her child as a Shivaji and a grand son, Sambhaji, who became a spoiled brat. Because grandparent cannot be as strict as she could be with her own son or daughter. So that's the best example anyone could give.
Yeah, I think with no doubt, see, all this discussion was very good, a lot of introspection. But at the end of it, we should question ourselves, why are we here?
Yeah, we personal level is important.
You know, it is you are here to refine yourself. In doing so, you're also setting an example, you're setting a role model for others to follow. And that is how you're also, fulfilling your societal responsibilities. If we are half baked, we're not completely, we're still work in progress. And that will continue for some time. It is not like we'll all gain Siddhi right now. We're all work in progress. Let's focus, let's just redirect our energies, focus onto this. It is good to have such awareness, so that we, when faced with such situations, we are able to take the right decision, prioritize and take the right decision. I think so. I guess
Even
This
in the
discussion is
corporate
only to put the
course,
seed in our own minds also. And wherever possible, just give a very subtle idea of seed into people whom we see. Like, if neighborhood may just in our neighborhood, if kids are going haywire, that disease can get contagiously affecting our kids also. So we have to insulate our kids, at the same time pass on a message in a very subtle way, so that it doesn't backfire on us. That is
Yeah.
that is what we have to look. That's it.
And today morning, I just when the session was going on, and my daughter is in US, and this is the time when she keeps calling me. Exactly when my session starts, and she keeps calling me, and I have been telling her that let's talk either before or later. Later she can't talk, and it was today's dialogue. Then I said, the session is on. I cannot talk to you much. Everything all right? She said, I should be your, it was on the lighter vein, I should be your priority. This was the dialogue which is happening, which just happened a few minutes back. Thank you.
हाँ, तो वो धर्मा वाला चीज ना, how it was for 1,000 years before, 100 years before, 50 years before, and today we need to again and again this thing for ourselves also. That's why I brought up this topic, because after 2, 3, 4, 5 years, same situation, it is going to come in our own houses for sure. Mrunal ji just now what she said, tomorrow, like ये हर घर में होने ही वाला है, मेरे भी घर पे आने वाला है ये. So
But
how
I'll share
beautifully I
something.
can handle it as my dharma.
Right. We have not been speaking to my son for some time, because the time difference. He's in Canada and we're here. So I messaged him. He said, Amma, I'll call you in 10 minutes. And I told him, I said, in 10 minutes, my Gita class will start. So you can call me after 9 o'clock India time. So he said, okay, I will call after 9 o'clock. So, I mean, this is because it's possible for him. Probably for Mirinal's daughter, it's not possible time-wise. It is a different time zone. But I think, yeah, it's a fine line. And like what Varsiji said, like how Gurudev says, it's all about a balancing act. It's about how you ride a cycle. So you yourself will be able to direct your compass that way.
see, even in the
Anyway, I think
corporate
what we can
courses,
do,
Gurudev has said that in corporate courses, we have the bosses and the subordinates, both sitting in the corporate course. And sometimes we will face situations where the boss will complain against some subordinate who is in the session, and some subordinate may come and complain against the boss. and we are not to take sides is what Gurudev has specifically told us. It is only through knowledge we give the knowledge point which is delivered in a certain manner. And if both of them come individually to us, we just have to state that knowledge. Keep away and don't get attached to the goings on. There is no right or wrong in this that we need to specify who's at fault. We don't take sides. Very specifically, Gurudev has said that. The same thing can be extrapolated in the real world. Like we don't get attached to somebody else's problems. The knowledge that is there in the ancient scriptures was true then and it is true now. And we just need to give that knowledge and that's it. Jai Gurudev.
Here I am not talking about giving knowledge to others. I am saying that the same situation, same type of these things are going to come up in my own house also. So that time, how this Arjuna called Madhuri now is going to, uska kya dharma hoga? वो एक क्योंकि this things are now in our own house. We can see the kind of son-in-laws are coming and their lifestyles and their aspirations. And same thing is going to come in our house, then how I will be following the dharma. Ye thoda sa as the times are changing, the dharma is also changing. Kya ye mujhe पूछना था. Like,
You know
I
what?
was
I think
also-
what I suggest, I think
Excuse
we'll
me,
close for
I
today.
was also in the same situation. Yesterday, there was baby shower in my home. Okay, everyone is there. Even then, I attended. I balanced this. I balanced that. Today also, they called me between this. We have to see our own thing and balance it. We have to act wisely. That's it.
Yeah. I think what we can do, Madhuri ji, tomorrow you can bring this up as a question. Let's hear from Nana what maybe we'll have a little more clarity on this, little more balance and understanding. But I think for today we will wind up the session today.
Yeah, it didn't come in our minds that we will put everything on our parents. हमारे तो मन में भी नहीं आता था. And these children are so confident कि our parents will take care of our children करके. ये थोड़ा सा line ये हो रहा है. So I need to really, everybody has to plan their own lives.
Yeah.
Percy ji, yesterday you shared the notes, no, of Panchaprana and all that. As I said that I was in baby shower, this one, then I was looking here, there, everything. Can you share that literature or the documents in the group?
I will email it to all of you. I'll email it.
That would be so nice, Brahmaraji.
I'll email it to all of you.
Email, because there will be certain things which are not meant for anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
They suffer from indigestion, like Gurudev says.
Okay.
So we'll not share it in the WhatsApp group.
That would be better.
Right.
Email.
So there is.
Brahmaraji, you have my email, I think.
I've got your email and all the Manana group is there in the email.
Thank you, Mother. Thank
Even
you.
the mudras and the bandhas and all that notes which I share would preferably be shared with people who have done advanced course.
Correct. So let's not just blindly forward these things to everyone and anyone. Let's maintain the sanctity of the knowledge. Yeah. So let's, we'll catch up tomorrow. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock, Nana will be there. So the first half hour, we'll do chapter 4. And so any of you has any doubts, any questions?
8 o'clock Indian time, you say that.
Yeah, 8 o'clock India time. Yeah, sorry, I'm 8 o'clock India time.
So that everyone will adjust,
so we're meeting up,
what it will be about in their country.
Correct. So we'll meet up at the same time like every day. The first half hour will be our Manana, and then from 8 to 9, that is 1 hour after that, Nana will be there.
So Mamigaru is joining exactly half an hour after the original schedule time. That is what.
Correct. Yeah.
And about I want to add one thing, Pamela. This is a very interesting topic. It can go on and on, as you said. I will try to trace out one excellent video, like 40-50 minutes ya ghanta ka video hai, about happy parenting. I will share it in the group if I can track it out.
Fine.
People can watch.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Jai Gurudev. Hari Om. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev and Hari Om.
Dhanyavad. Yeah.